man's been found guilty of the murder of a Lanarkshire drug dealer. William Gage shot Justin McElroy as he returned to his home in Cambuslang. At the High Court in Glasgow, Gage was sentenced to life imprisonment.
Today, the High Court
Lord
in
Emsley
Glasgow, Gage
ordered
was
that he
found
serve
guilty
a
of
punishment
murder.
period of 20
He was
years.
also accused of perverting the course of justice by setting the car on fire. The verdict on that charge, not proven. Gage's friends and relations are already talking about a miscarriage of justice. So today's High Court verdict still might not close the controversy surrounding the murder of Justin McElroy. Bob Wiley, reporting Scotland.
Lay me down in the cauldron, wherefore money mair have gone. Lay me down in the cauldron, wherefore money mair have gone. Lay me down in the cauldron, wherefore money mair have gone. Lay me down in the cauldron, wherefore money mair have gone.
What do we want? Justice!
When William Gage first contacted me, I had to write to him and explain that he didn't actually fall under a remit as a miscarriage of justice. Because he hadn't actually been convicted. What we said to Willie is that we would certainly monitor his case and keep our eye on it. And the more we looked into it, the more we thought there was something wrong with it. I was totally bemused by that old trial. As I said, I normally sit in appeals, and that was the first murder trial I'd ever sat in, and it shocked me to think that in the 21st century, in a so-called modern democracy, that we could allow some of this evidence to be brought in front of a jury. I mean, evidence saying, what, you recognise somebody's eyes 22 months later? To me, that was laughable. You couldn't get away with that in a theatre. You couldn't get away with that in any other walk of life. But in a Scottish court, somebody can come in and say, I can recognise somebody by their eyes. I mean, it was shocking. It really was truly shocking. All the evidence that was against William Gage was purely circumstantial in relation to the murder. The evidence that they had that linked William to the crime could have linked at least 4, 5, 6 other people through the DNA. So, I mean, even that wasn't clear-cut, that what they found directly pointed at Willie. From the locus of the shooting to where the Saab car was found, whatever route you take, there's a possibility that 43 CCTV cameras should have picked up that car if it was coming from at that point to the point that it was found in. And well, we never ever seen any CCTV, and I can only guess the reason why we never seen any CCTV, because there was no showing of the white Saab at any near way the proximity from Cambuslang to Easterhouse. And it did talk about the police in the run-up to trial, but it was more to do with the evidence and the holding back of CCTV camera evidence. Because he was trying to clear his name. He's trying to clear his name from within the prison. So he's got all these questions, why are they not doing this, why are they not doing that? If there's evidence here, why am I not being allowed to see it? There was he had many doubts about the way the police were running their investigation.
We want justice!
As evidence when it comes to the description of the gunman, I mean, he seemed to have the clearest view if the man behind him was the gunman. He seen a man running with a mask on, jumping into a white car. He was wearing a puff jacket. The road that he was travelling down had roadworks, so he was held up and the white car came back from behind. And Steve Madden stated that he seen the guy pull off a mask. He described it as somebody with a bald face. He was asked in court if he could recognise this face in court, and he said no, he couldn't. So he had the clearest view of the gunman, but he couldn't pick Willie Gage out in court. Well, the reaction I had outside the court was I was getting the mickey taken out of me by all the BBC and Scottish television journalists there, basically saying, what you doing here, he's not a miscarriage of justice victim. So they all thought he was going to walk as well, as I did, as everyone thought he was going to walk because of the judge's summing up. By his summing up, I would say, without a shadow of a doubt, he was directing the jury to bring an acquittal. Whether it be a not proven or not guilty verdict, I don't know. But with the summing up, the amount of times that he mentioned the burden of proof and beyond reasonable doubt, it kept going over and over and over these particular phrases. And to me, that's an indication to say to the jury, there ain't enough evidence. Personally, I think he should have stopped the trial because there wasn't enough evidence. But that's just my personal opinion. I just seen Willie leave the dock, and I don't think Willie even knew his reaction. I think Willie was totally stunned by it. You know, I think when you're in a situation like that, I hear guys saying all the time, you don't actually think they're talking about you. You don't actually think you're there. You think it's, you know, it's some video you're watching, because you've just dissociated yourself from what's going on. I think that's where Willie was at the moment. I don't think Willie knew what was happening. As soon as we heard the verdict, we knew there was going to be an appeal. The problem with that is Willie Gage had already been held for 2 years on this matter, and he's now, 8 months since the trial. Could take another 4 or 5 months for to get appeal, so that's going to be another year he's going to have to spend in a hellhole. For what? For something he never done? For expediency, for tunnel vision, for somebody just to clear the books? I mean, that isn't justice. And if people think this is justice, what they've got to remember is the person who shot that